This is the third video dealing with double tonguing in the series of videos on multiple tonguing techniques. And in this particular video, we're going to look at practice exercises for double tonguing. First off, what I'm going to do in this video is give you a presentation with treble clef instruments. So these are exercises that would be suitable to play on the oboe. And then I'm going to play on bassoon some exercises in the bass clef and have some further discussions. I find it most helpful to work on these fast techniques of tonguing by doing short bursts of the tonguing. Working in little segments that will quickly help me to master the tonguing techniques. In order to play fast, you have to practice fast. I do insist that you do these exercises at various speeds. A conductor will never pick the speed that you're comfortable with in your passages, so you might as well be able to play them at all different speeds. Obviously, starting out slower is the best and moving to faster tonguing. Here's one where we've got 2 beats of sprints. The former one we just had a single beat of sprints. These are different exercises that you can be doing. Here's one in which we've got some varied tonguing patterns. Actually, it's the pattern's the same, but the value of the notes differ here. So this is good to start out sort of slow and then a faster burst there at the end. And here's an example of a scale in which you can play with some different tonguing patterns. You'd use the same tonguing pattern as found in 3. So we'll go through this again, but it would be a T, K, T, T, K, T, and then the straight double tonguing there. And here's one where you get to practice your double tonguing in a scale-like passage. All of these have different difficulties. I suggest that you do practice your double tonguing on a single note first. Practice all your multiple tonguing techniques on single notes first, because when you have to change notes and coordinate that with the tongue, that adds a whole nother level of difficulty. So here's some ideas for practicing and for both oboe and bassoon. First, practice slowly. Be sure to vary your tempos. Once you reach a failure speed, that is a speed at which you can't consistently do the exercise, then slow down the tempo and complete a few more repetitions so that you've got it under control. I believe it's important to end your practice sessions with success, not with failure. And I think that's a good idea. So, as you're varying your speeds and you're pushing yourself up to a higher tempo, once you reach that tempo where you can't continue, back it off and do some successful repetitions. And I want to make a special note. Although this is about double tonguing, you need to realize that I employ a different tonguing technique for most of the fast articulation I do. So I use what I've referred to in my articles as combination tonguing, but also is referred to as mixed tonguing in the literature for most of the fast articulation. I find for me that from maybe metronome marking 136, 138 on up to 144 or something like that, sort of in that faster range there, that I use this mixed tonguing to more success than the double tonguing. And so there'll be more about this technique in some later videos. Also, I have had some publications that have mentioned this, and I'm currently working on a book called Virtuoso Double Reed Articulation. So if I ever get that out, God willing, you'll be able to read about it there. Okay. Here we have our first example given on bassoon, the short sprints. Here's a little bit slower. And the second one I wasn't as happy with. I let it be a little more choppy than the other two. Again, you should try to work for a very legato technique. Here's 2 beat sprints. this is the varied tonguing patterns. What I should mention is it's very helpful on bassoon to pull the reed out of the mouth. This will help you with that articulation. It will make the reed simulate a little more the depth that an oboe reed comes in the mouth. And I find that that does help the tongue movement and things. So you might want to experiment with this and try this. So here's a tonguing pattern in a scale. Now I would need to obviously work on that a little bit more to get it as legato as possible. It's really hard to make the eighth notes as legato, and of course if you were doing this exercise in a normal fashion you would be single tonguing the eighth notes and then double tonguing the 16th, or in my case using the mixed sort of tonguing. So here's 2-beat sprints in a scale. And you can practice that at all different tempos, of course. Well, I've made available for you these exercises for download for free. So visit www.toread.net/bassoon digital professor/BDP.